They got this guy in a RICO case by himself.
When Dave Chappelle said that in live national television, the laugh was immediate. But the silence that followed it was louder because everyone in that audience knew what he meant. Nobody stands alone in a RICO case. There is always a network. There are always names attached. And Dave Chappelle, the man who walked away from $50 million rather than be controlled, just told the world that Diddy did not build his empire alone.
But I see him over there, they got the tapes of him at the party with the mic, and when people ask him questions, he's real serious, and I'm like, damn, what's going on?
Kevin Hart on tape at Diddy's party, being asked questions and going stone cold serious. A comedian, silent. Think about that.
There's a million of them. A million of them.
Epstein wasn't a one-off freak. He was a blueprint. And right now, with 3 million pages of documents exposing the most powerful people on Earth, sources are surfacing with a claim that the mainstream is not ready to touch. Kevin Hart, allegedly, was not just in Diddy's circle. He was in a circle that goes all the way to that island. And the dress he wore before the fame? That wasn't a costume. That was an entrance fee. But here's what nobody is connecting yet. To understand what Dave Chappelle is actually exposing, you have to stop thinking about Diddy's story and Epstein's story as two separate scandals. Because they're not. They are two chapters of the same book. One ran through music and entertainment, one ran through politics and finance. But they operated on identical logic. Find powerful people, give them access to things they can't get anywhere else, document everything, and now you own them forever. Diddy understood this before most people in entertainment even knew what leverage meant. He built a circle so tight, so loyal, and so secretive that Dave Chappelle, one of the sharpest minds in the entire industry, said he couldn't do business with anyone who had been in that house.
That Puff had so much control over so many people in so many industries. And it's a tight-knit circle. It seems like they all keep a good secret. This is what it seems like. And it seems like they're very loyal to each other. So if the guy that I'm having a problem with is over there, and that's part of their circle of coolness or black excellence or whatever that crew is, that would mean that I can't do business, or I could never do business with Puff, even if I wanted to. And probably that, to me, would mean I can't do business with anybody else that was in that house, that was in that club. So now it all makes sense. Like certain people that were cool with me all of a sudden just stopped, like Kevin Hart, for example, who's another person that I look at like he was on Rockefeller Films, right? Like I discovered Kev, and so what happened with Kev and I was we kept up with each other, like up till he was in NYC. He was doing a show at the New York, what was it at, Rock? In NYU. And I went to go see him. At the time he was with Tory, he still had his family with him, and he was getting into bigger venues. And, we got pictures, I gotta find them. And then the next time it was the Garden, and I didn't get the call. And we just stopped being cool. It was like all of a sudden, the minute he got to a certain level, he stopped calling. And that's happened with me with people where once they get, and then all of a sudden there's a whole new set of friends. And now I see him over there, like I didn't know all this, but I see him over there, they got the tapes of him at the party with the mic, and when people ask him questions, he's real serious, and I'm like, damn, what's going on? Kev was over there too. And now if I could ask him, I'd be like, yo, was doing over there, like, because I've known these people for 20, 30 years. So I could, we talk like that. So it wouldn't be like an uncomfortable conversation. You're a comedian. I'd be like, yo, you had the baby or you was next to the bed. Like, you got to tell me so. And why are you being so quiet about it? You know what I'm saying? But again, it all makes sense. It'd be like, well, how come all of a sudden it was just all of a sudden new friends? So what it leads me to believe is, if you're going to be friends with those people, they make you choose a side.
Choose a side. That is the entire foundation of both worlds, Diddy's and Epstein's. You either prove your loyalty and gain access, or you stay outside and lose opportunities. And the way you prove loyalty in these circles is never clean. It's never a handshake. It's always something they can use against you later. Now, the Epstein files. Over 3 million documents released by the Department of Justice. Flight logs, contact lists, internal emails, video evidence, and the same names keep appearing. Politicians, billionaires, royals, CEOs, people who were not just casually associated with Epstein, people who kept returning after his first arrest, people who kept the secret.
Jeffrey Epstein is part of a class of what are effectively professional fixers. And this is a kind of class of professional who sits not really within a particular government or private sector institution, but in the kind of sticky layer between them that connects them all.
A fixer, a connector, someone who holds secrets as currency and moves power between worlds. Doesn't that sound exactly like what Diddy was described as? A man so deeply embedded in so many industries that losing him didn't just end a music career. It threatened to crack open every room he'd ever sat in. The connection between these two worlds isn't a conspiracy theory. It's a structural reality, and Kevin Hart sits right at the intersection of both. Kevin Hart's rise is genuinely one of the most extraordinary success stories in entertainment history, from small Philadelphia clubs to global sellout tours, from supporting roles to producing blockbusters, from stand-up comedian to one of the most bankable names in Hollywood across every single platform simultaneously. It's remarkable, almost unrealistically so. Cat Williams, who has been calling out industry mechanics for years, who has paid a serious personal price for his honesty, and who has been proven right on enough of his claims that people have stopped dismissing him. Cat said it plainly. Kevin was placed, his path was cleared, his rise was designed, and who was the most powerful person behind the scenes in entertainment during the exact years Kevin was ascending? Diddy. Who praised Kevin publicly? Who was photographed with him repeatedly? Who was seen on tape with Kevin in hotel rooms in footage that has since circulated widely? And who, according to multiple sources, valued Kevin precisely because Kevin never said anything he wasn't supposed to say.
And there's another clip, Kevin Hart and Diddy is standing next to a mattress in a hotel room, what it looks like, and he's telling Diddy, I'm not gonna get into bed with you. So our boy Diddy is, I think I don't know. You make up the call. I just don't want to say it.
Come here, don't sit on the bed at night. No homo. No, just don't get close to the bed.
Now that clip has always been read as a joke, a funny moment between two famous people. But watch it again with fresh eyes. Watch how Kevin positions himself. Watch how deliberately he addresses the camera. Watch how carefully he makes sure the moment is witnessed. That's not someone who wandered into an awkward situation. That's someone who knows exactly where the line is and is performing for the record. Because in Diddy's world, knowing where the line is was the job. Handlers, the people closest to the powerful center, were tasked with maintaining image, projecting normalcy, and keeping everything looking clean on the surface. And Kevin Hart, whether he asked for that role or was guided into it, became exactly that. The funny, likable, hardworking, squeaky clean face of a culture that had very dark things operating underneath it. Dave Chappelle watched it happen in real time, and he never forgot it. This is the part of the story that makes people uncomfortable, because it forces you to look at something that has been hiding in plain sight for years. There is a well-documented pattern in Hollywood, not a rumor, not a conspiracy, but something that multiple insiders have spoken about directly, where powerful figures use a specific kind of humiliation as a loyalty test. You put a man in a dress, you film it, now you have something. Now the relationship has a different texture. Now there is leverage where there wasn't before. Dave Chappelle talked about this without saying it explicitly. He famously walked off the set of his own show mid-production after a sketch involving a dress started to feel wrong to him. He said the difference between a joke that liberates and a joke that demeans can sometimes only be felt, and what he felt in that moment told him to leave. He walked away from $50 million. Think about what someone has to feel to do that. It wasn't about money, it wasn't about the cameras. It was about what the cameras were really capturing and for whom. Dave sensed that what looked like comedy to the audience was something else entirely, to the people in the room with the power, and he refused to be part of it. Kevin Hart did not refuse. There are photos. There is footage. Kevin Hart in a dress exists as documented reality, not as a one-off Halloween bit or a throwaway sketch, but as something that appeared at the specific period in his career when he was deepest inside the circle that Diddy anchored. And the sources who are now connecting this to the broader Epstein-style compromise network are pointing to a very uncomfortable possibility that before Kevin Hart became the biggest comedian on the planet, he agreed to things that were filmed, things that certain people still have, and that those things, whatever they are part of why his silence around Diddy, around the freak-offs, around the Epstein conversation has been so total and so absolute.
That's how they stay in the game.
They have to.
He's like skull and bones. You gotta suck the dick.
Well, look at
Otherwise, we can't trust you.
You want in? You prove it. You do the thing. Now we have the thing. Now you're in permanently. That's not entertainment industry mythology. That's how compromised networks have operated throughout recorded history. Epstein's Island was just the most documented modern version of a very old system. And in Diddy's world, the equivalent of that island was the freak-off.
He's contractually obligated to have, normally, any drug or narcotic you want is available. But you just start seeing groups of arrive, male, female, and you just start seeing people pairing off and start doing what they do. And if I'm at one of these events with a male and my principal is a man, I'll go wait in the car.
This is someone who was inside those events describing what they looked like. Drugs available by contract, people pairing off, the bodyguard choosing to wait outside rather than witness what was happening inside. And this was the environment that Kevin Hart was not just attending, but allegedly hosting, facilitating, and narrating on tape. Here is where this story makes its most important turn. Because people keep treating the Diddy scandal and the Epstein scandal as parallel stories. Two different powerful men, two different networks, two different worlds, but they're not parallel. They're connected, and the connection runs through the same class of people. Ultra-wealthy, ultra-powerful, operating above the consequences that apply to everyone else, who moved freely between both circles.
About Epstein's Island more than a decade ago, and I thought it was the craziest thing I'd ever heard. I was like, what are you saying? There's an island, like it sounds like a plot in a movie. There's an island where they fly famous rich scientists and politicians, and they compromise them with underage girls and get it on film so they could use it against them. I'm like, what? That sounds like lizard people. It sounds like, 5G creates COVID. Same thing. Yeah. But turns out it was true.
It was true. The island was real. The footage was real. The network was real. And the people inside that network weren't just politicians and scientists. They were entertainers. They were cultural figures. They were the people whose faces make you trust the system because they're famous and funny and familiar. Now sources, unverified, emerging, spreading rapidly across the internet as the Epstein documents are analyzed, are claiming Kevin Hart's name exists in the broader social web that connected Diddy's entertainment empire to Epstein's elite access operation. Not as a political figure, not as a billionaire, but as exactly what he was inside Diddy's circle, a cultural ambassador, a face, a connector who made things seem normal and safe and fun.
There's a lot of those 100%. Guys that wound up going to that island, they probably thought, this is great, we get to party.
Nothing's free.
And they probably felt like they were rock stars because they get to hang out with the intellectual elite on an island with a guy who's just a billionaire philanthropist who's eccentric, who just loves women. He's a professed bachelor, and it all seemed too good to be true.
So true.
Because it was.
Yeah. Too good to be true. That is the entry point for every compromise network in history. You don't walk into a trap that looks like a trap. You walk into something that looks like a privilege, a reward, a sign that you've made it to the level where different rules apply. And if you are a young comedian from Philadelphia who has been taken under the wing of the most powerful man in entertainment, and that man has connections that extend beyond music into finance, politics, and global elite circles, then the invitation to the next level of that world would not look threatening. It would look like a compliment, like a promotion, like proof that you belong. That is how it works every single time.
I also met Jeffrey Epstein exactly one time. I regretted it from the second I stepped in the door. I had nightmares about it afterwards.
One meeting, and it produced nightmares. Now, imagine not one meeting, but a relationship, a social circle, repeat visits, repeat events, and footage from every single one of them sitting in someone's hard drive somewhere, waiting somewhere. Everything Dave Chappelle has said publicly about this situation, going back years, forms a map. Not a perfect map, not a legally admissible map, but a map nonetheless, drawn by someone who was close enough to the system to understand it, and independent enough to describe it without fear. He told us Diddy's circle operated through chosen sides and enforced loyalty. He told us Kevin Hart was someone he watched get absorbed into that circle and go quiet. He told us he himself was never invited to the parties, and framed it as a joke, but the subtext was relief. He told us he walked away from his own show when he felt the content was being used for someone else's purpose.
So now it all makes sense. You know, like certain people that were cool with me all of a sudden just stopped, like Kevin Hart, for example, who's another person that I look at like he was on Rockefeller Films, right? Like I discovered Kev, and you know, so what happened with Kevin and I was we kept up with each other, like up till he was in NYC. He was doing a show at the New York, what was it at, Rock? In NYU. And I went to go see him. At the time he was with Tory, he still had his family with him, and he was getting into bigger venues. And, you know, we got pictures, I gotta find them. And then the next time it was the Garden, and I didn't get the call. And we just stopped being cool. It was like all of a sudden, the minute he got to a certain level, he stopped calling. And that's happened with me with people where once they get, and then all of a sudden there's a whole new set of friends.
New friends, new world, new rules, new silence. Dave watched Kevin cross that threshold and never come back from it. And now, with Diddy's empire crumbling and Epstein's files going public, Dave is on SNL, connecting the dots in front of millions of people in the only language that gives him cover: comedy.
It feels like I'm storming the beach of Normandy, World War II. But I gotta keep a happy expression on my face all the time. So imagine all the dangers storming the beach, but I still look like this. Bullets are whizzing by and stuff is exploding. I'm just, and then every once in a while something terrible happens. And I'm like, oh no, Puffy got hit.
Bullets, explosions, and Puffy got hit. Dave is not describing fame as glamorous. He is describing it as survival, as a war zone where the casualties are real, but everyone is expected to keep smiling. That is the lived experience of someone who has seen what this industry does to people who get too close to its power centers and chose to step back from the trenches. Kevin Hart never stepped back. Kevin ran deeper in, and according to Dave, according to Cat Williams, and now according to sources surfacing in the wake of both the Diddy arrest and the Epstein file release, that depth may have cost him things he has never acknowledged publicly. Kevin Hart has not addressed the Epstein connection. He has not addressed the dress footage. He has not addressed Dave Chappelle's pointed comments about their faded friendship and his presence at Diddy's parties. He addressed Diddy's arrest with the most minimal, carefully worded, absolutely deniable reference possible at an awards show, and then moved on.
And Kevin Hart decided that he was going to make jokes about, well, I mean, he's the host, right? So you have to sort of roast a little bit of someone who's in the audience because, well, this person is in a prison, or actually right now sitting in a courtroom, and that's Diddy. Yes, he didn't say his name, but it was very clear to everyone who he was talking about here. Watch the reactions in the room.
Watch the reactions. The room was careful. Nobody laughed too loud. Nobody wanted their face on camera celebrating a joke about a man whose trial might name the people in that very audience. That room understood what was at stake, and Kevin Hart, standing at the microphone, understood it too, because he helped curate that world. He was a face it trusted.
I think, like, if they are keeping something quiet, it's because it's video of underage girls, or it's video of the victims who don't want that to be out there. And the Justice Department cannot make that public.
Cannot make it public. That phrase should stop you cold, because it means the footage exists, but the system has decided to protect the powerful by citing the privacy of victims, which is a legitimate legal concern, and also a perfect shield for everyone whose face appears in that footage alongside those victims. The files are out, 3 million pages, and the process of connecting names, dates, flight logs, and contact lists to the entertainment world that Diddy built is still happening in real time. Kevin Hart's name being attached to this, allegedly, Reportedly, according to sources the internet is actively verifying, is not the end of this story. It may be closer to the beginning, and Dave Chappelle, who has been drawing this map for years, is still talking. Here is the full picture as it stands right now. Kevin Hart rose through a circle anchored by Diddy, a man now facing federal RICO charges, whose private events feature documented compromising situations, drugs, and footage that the government is using as evidence. During that rise, Kevin allegedly wore a dress, participating in a loyalty ritual that insiders say is standard practice for those seeking protection at the highest levels of the industry. His friendship with Dave Chappelle ended precisely when he entered that inner circle. Dave noticed. Dave remembered. Dave is now talking. Epstein's network, now documented across 3 million federal pages, operated on the exact same logic as Diddy's. Access for loyalty, footage for insurance, silence as the permanent price of admission, and sources emerging from the overlap between these two worlds are placing Kevin Hart's name in a broader social network that connected entertainment to the island. He has said nothing.
What leads me to believe is, if you're going to be friends with those people, they make you choose a side. And there's a lot, I'm like, damn, I got to do, like literally my instincts were right. I really have to do everything on my own.
Dave chose his side. It cost him $50 million, his show, and years of his career. But it also means that today, when he speaks, nobody owns what he says. Nobody can pull a tape and make him disappear. He is free in a way that very few people at his level ever get to be. Kevin Hart chose differently. And right now, with the walls closing in from two directions simultaneously, Diddy's trial and Epstein's files, that choice is starting to have consequences that no amount of careful hosting gigs and perfectly worded non-statements can contain. Dave Chappelle sees it, the files are showing it, and now you've seen it too. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Dave's hints are pointing at something real, or is this all circumstantial? Hit subscribe because every week these files are releasing new details, and we are going to cover every single one.